Good day, and thank you for tuning in to the new episode of the Microdose Diet. So my guest today is Assemblyman Pat Burke. Assemblyman Burke serves in the New York State Assembly, representing South Buffalo. And he is here today to talk about a bill that is sponsored calling for the creation of a pilot program for psychedelic-assisted therapy. My name is Peggy van de Plassche, and I am a former banker and venture capitalist. I now speak and write about the psychedelic industry and the benefits of strategically microdosing psilocybin. I created the Microdose Diet, a 90-day plan for success and happiness. You can follow me on all the regular social media, Substack, LinkedIn, YouTube. So let's get started. Assemblyman Burke, thank you very, very much for being here today. It's a great and important topic, and I'm delighted to have you with us.
Oh, I'm happy to be here, Peggy. Thanks for having me on. And it's a great topic to talk about. And I've been doing a lot of work here in the New York State Assembly. So happy to explain the bill and answer any questions you might have.
That's amazing. So I know you're a very busy man. So let's dig right into it. So tell us more about that bill. What does it mean? What is it exactly?
So it's essentially a therapeutic psilocybin and psychedelic assisted therapy bill. And I see this as the best way to practically create access for people who are currently suffering and don't have this as a tool for themselves. So people suffering from PTSD, anxiety, depression, a lot of folks don't have access to this medication. So I view it as a medicine. And for me, even explaining it politically, it's really important to talk about this as a medicine rather than as a drug. And so that's how I frame it to folks, and that's how the bill frames it. And I know that there are sometimes some clashes even in the community about what is the best path forward. Is it a decrim? Is it a legalize? Is it a therapeutic model? And I see it as the urgent thing I know can get done that is feasible is this therapeutic model, and it's going to save lives. So maybe those other discussions can happen, maybe not too far down the road. They can happen when they happen, and there's certainly proposed bills to handle decriminalization and legalization. But for me and where I think we are right now, I want to do as much good in the position I'm in while I'm here, and I see this as the best way to do it.
That's great. And I love it's a very pragmatic approach because I personally believe we need to go a few more steps further. But to your point, you also need to deal with what people are capable of handling right now. And
Sure.
there has been, as you know, so much stigma that there is still, I think, some work in the public opinion.
And I think, and we have to deal with public opinion. We are a democracy, so
Exactly.
it's like, and that's part of the deal, even if it doesn't move as quickly as you'd like. But by doing it this way, and you take a lot of the stigma away. So when someone sees that their loved one was helped, then they can maybe look in themselves and say, like, maybe things aren't so great for me, and this might be something that I address. And when that happens broadly, you have people who are a lot more comfortable, with these medications, and I think it changes the viewpoint and the stigma from a societal point of view.
Yeah, I think it's a great strategy in terms of making sure you get success. So one other question I have for you is, what would it change for New Yorkers? I mean, for the people who are in your circumscription, actually.
Right. So right now there is no access. There's no legal access to these treatments, and this would create the structure. This would create the regulatory structure to allow for that access. So it would give both care providers, and patients a pathway to apply for for access to these medications and treatments. And so I think that there's the care portion that is really needed. There is the economic development portion. That is certainly an industry that I think is going to grow. If you can't really compare it to cannabis. Those are two completely different things, but it's still a potential opportunity for providers to take a different approach to their treatment to folks, and that's in a country where there is no access. Being one of the first states and being a large state like New York to do that, I think creates a lot of opportunities for folks, and hopefully, frankly, in my point of view, having the state of New York, which is, I believe, the 12th largest economy in the world, just the state of New York, having a large state like that, moving something like this forward, I think has a real domino effect with states across the nation.
Yeah, and like I'm sure you can hear, I'm from France originally. I live in Canada, and I like the idea of looking at it from a global perspective as well. Is that okay? You influence the US, which I'm sure is what is first in your mind, but it's also important for what's happening in all the countries that are always looking at what's happening in the US to make their own decisions. So I love the leadership.
Hey, absolutely. I'm from Buffalo, New York, which is a border city. So there's this running joke that what's your favorite Canadian city, and people will say Buffalo, New York. So.
Yeah, that's pretty. Exactly. It's very, very close. So one of the questions I have for you is, why did you decide to support the bill? Because it can be risky for a politician to go there.
Yeah, no, it's certainly in my district. I'm a Democrat, and it's a Democratic district, but it's considered a pretty conservative Democratic district. I guess a couple of things. One, I believe in leading from the front. I don't think you're a good leader if every time you see an issue that's important, you go like this and see which way the winds are blowing.
Yeah.
You have to be practical and thoughtful and reasonable. But I think you have to lead on issues. Leaders lead, and so this was something that I grew up in a sort of economically suppressed area. There's a lot of poverty and violence and drug abuse and alcoholism, and so I saw this as something. I began to learn about it, and I saw it as something that could help a lot of the people that I grew up with. Where I grew up, drugs were sort of this thing that I just didn't like because I saw it ruining people's lives.
Yeah.
And then, so when I stopped looking at this just as a drug and started seeing it as a medicine, it certainly changed my perspective on it quite a bit. I think I just see it as something that can help a lot of folks. And even if it's politically risky, I'm okay with that. I've taken political risks on other important issues throughout my career, and it's actually, I would say, the area I'm comfortable with, and it's exciting, right? Like it may be risky, but it's also, you want to live your life, and you want to do things that are meaningful and matter. And for me, if I can get this done, I think I could retire from public service like a happy man, because I know it will save people's lives.
Exactly. That's probably one of the most important bills that are being discussed right now, actually, when you put things in the greater scheme. So what have been the reaction from your peers, from your constituents? Were people surprised, excited, a mix of frightened, a mix of everything?
I would say initially when I did it, my peers and colleagues kind of dismissed it as like what? Like, that's crazy. And through a lot of work and conversations, and frankly, like, the time seems to be catching up to it as well, where it's in public conversations. And if you saw the John Oliver, you saw that was really helpful and changing some minds. So in New York, is considered a very liberal state, but pretty regressive when it comes to drug policies. So we just, we legalized cannabis in 2019 or 2020. I can't recall now. Okay. So we haven't been that proactive in things like this. Okay. But in this short time period, I've got 40 co-sponsors, which is a significant portion of the legislative body. Even have a few Republicans who have talked about it in terms of veterans issues, PTSD. And so there's been a broad level of support. Of course, I've gotten, politics is not an easy business to be in at all. So of course, people who would like to have me lose my election, have taken shots at me about this. I don't think it works. I think I'm really, I think tuned into the people that I represent, and I think the folks I represent are they're salt of the earth people. They're wonderful, and even if I may be a little bit more left of center than a lot of them, I'm pretty direct and honest with them. So I think there is this thought that we might not always agree with Pat, but we know he always has our interests at heart. So I think that helps, just being sincere with folks and why I'm doing something. So far so good, but
that's great. And
who knows?
It's interesting. I was speaking last week with Melissa Lavasani. Maybe you know Melissa. She plays at the federal level, and she launched actually a federal PAC for supporting psychedelic medicine. And from her perspective, she's like, well, it's a healthcare issue or topic. It's not a political issue or topic. And I think she's been good at getting bipartisan support, even if in her head we always think, well, that's going to be a Democrat type initiative. But mental health goes across the aisle, and that's the thing that sometimes I'm like, okay, it has nothing to do with politics. Yes, we need legislators to change the laws, but it should not be a partisan way of looking at it. It's the best interest, as you mentioned, the best interest of a citizen.
Yeah, sadly, there are so many issues that shouldn't be partisan, but they fall that way in the current society. Frankly, we could look at this as something that, aside from treating people's personal mental health ailments, it could potentially treat the societal mental health ailments, the lack of connectivity and the harm and the agitation and the anger that is being agitated by purpose by unfortunately by some unscrupulous characters, but we can find a way, I think, to bring people back together and heal them.
I agree with you. I think there is a great way to bring not only the country but also the world, in a better place using this technology. So I'm absolutely with you on that. So how is your campaign going? So was it an element that has been helping in supporting your campaign? You were saying people understand you have their best interest at heart. So did you see people changing their mind or even being more partisan of you because of your positioning?
I would say it's probably not helping my campaign. It's certainly, it does make me a little vulnerable, but I feel confident that I can overcome that. And then it's just a lot of work as well. So doing this and trying to connect with people throughout the community. So if I'm spending time in New York City, if I'm traveling to meet with people, it's costly as well. So it presents challenges, but it's not, like I said, this is I chose public service, and I didn't do it because it's easy. But I love it, and this is just, I think, a great opportunity. Now, do I think in the future, I think hindsight will prove me right, and I'm not going to stand there and say I told you so. But after this becomes law, and we see the dramatic way it helps people, then I think it could certainly help keep my campaigns in the future by saying, like, I stood out in front on this really important issue when it wasn't easy, and look what it's done.
Exactly. I think that's a great way to, show leadership. I love your expression, leading from the front. Seems to make sense. You can't really be a leader from the back, but you're right. Many people tend to do that. Do you have any parting words, anything you'd like to communicate on the bill, on what you hope to accomplish, anything that you think would be of interest to your listeners?
I think, if when I'm talking to folks, and again, I am sensitive to the sort of not clashes, but disagreements over this issue within the community, as it's called. And I really think it's important, at least from my perspective as a sort of practical person and someone who has to strategize for a living, that this is the most effective way to move the needle on this issue, and it's going to help a lot of folks. So what I'm really hoping is that people can completely get behind this, even if it's not everything they want. I want them to realize that by doing this, you are contributing, one, to your long-term goals, but two, to the well-being of a lot of people who have no idea how to access these medications and tools, either not in any other way. They just don't know how to do it, or wouldn't do it because it's not legal. So I want to I'm passionate about making this pathway for people, and then looking forward to conversations after this. And I think what folks who are looking right now for decriminalization or legalization, even, those conversations are a lot easier. I'd also like to add, for me, coming from an area that that was poor, I'm not interested in just doing this for rich white people. It's not enough. It's not enough. So so this it is costly. So my bill also includes a fund, so people who are eligible for Medicaid also can have this paid for as well, on top of veterans and first responders. So I think it's a really, really good bill. Nothing's ever perfect, and it's always really hard to get these things done, and you're trying to navigate a very, very tight path. But we're learning from things that happened in Oregon. We're learning from examples from different states, things, mistakes they might have made, or things that they'll need to change. And I'm really excited about this bill, and I hope people will get behind me and support me, and they can. I wish I had please email me at burkep@nyassembly.gov. And I'm happy to carry on the conversation, or it's always great to hear from folks who are offering support.
I will put the information in the comment so people can reach out. And you brought a very important point, which is equitable access. And I think maybe that's what you mentioned, with people in the community being a bit timid when it comes with psychedelic assisted therapy, in the sense that you already need to have a certain level, usually, of education and also financial resources to go in that direction. So, but to your point, one step at a time, the fact that you have funding associated is going to be extremely helpful. First responders, veterans, all of this group of people who are really at risk and who are also of great service to the society. They should be really a top of the line, and that's amazing if they can participate and have that funded, because we've seen great results. I know the veteran affair have been doing great work on that in clinical studies. So that's amazing. So, Assemblyman Burke, thank you so much for spending time with us, and thank you so much for your effort in that regard. To your point, it's going to save life, and you don't have many bills and many politicians who actually put their neck on the line for the greater good. And I'm sure everyone who's listening and who's going to watch you is going to really appreciate what you're doing. So, thank you so much.
It's absolutely my pleasure, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right, bye, Peggy.